The journey to a new heart started long before takeoff, but that last connection from Tioga to Rochester was smooth sailing thanks to a little help from the skies.
I just got a call from my boss and asked if I had anything going.
Tioga High School junior Bree Hansen waited for a new heart for more than a year. When the call finally came, Minot Aero Center manager Doug Boudin was among the stream of calls that followed.
10 minutes later, he said, "You got to go to Tioga and you need to get to Rochester in 4 hours."
The team made a plan on the fly. It wasn't until midway to Tioga that pilot Peterson found out the reason for the flight.
I didn't realize the transplant patient was going to be that young. And it was pretty emotional because she was saying goodbye to her friends and their family. Her mom came with us, so I tried to make her feel as comfortable as possible and try to fly as smooth as I could. She's a pretty amazing little girl. She, about 20 minutes into the flight, she was asking me questions, how the airplane works, and it just seemed like a normal flight at that point. She wasn't real worried about what was going to happen to her. And
when asked if this flight felt different because there was a life depending on him, Peterson said that's true of every flight.
There always kind of is when you're a pilot. It's kind of weird. When you sit on the end of the runway and go to take off, your mind kind of just goes to the safety of the flight, because not only are you responsible for your life, but for the other people's lives.
With the tailwind, the group touched down in Rochester just 2.5 hours later.
I wrote a special little note in my logbook, so I'll remember it.
The road to recovery stretches out before her, but Bree's path to clear skies is touching hearts along the way. In Minot, Jennifer Kleen, KX News.
No matter where you've been, and no matter where you'll go, it always feels good to be back home. Bree Hansen finally gets to know that feeling. She was away from Tioga for 111 days. That's the same number of balloons that were waiting for her at the town's airport. With all that support, her heart is happy.
Now it feels great. Like it's still scary because it's such a brand new heart. For a couple months it's gonna be scary because of rejection and stuff like that. But they tell me I'm doing good, and I was able to come home, so I was so happy for that.
Her parents knew from Bree's childhood that she would have heart problems. It wasn't until last year she was placed on a waiting list. But when they got the call, everything changed.
My dad called me, and he never calls me during school, so I was in class. I was like, I should answer this. And so I answered it, and it was Dad, and he was like, well, you need to go. Like, I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, Mayo called, they have a heart for you.
Because transplants can be very time sensitive, Bree needed to get to the hospital immediately. When Bree's mom told her boss Kathy Nessett of their dilemma, Nessett offered her plane and pilot.
I was amazed that she's doing as well as she is. I can't imagine the emotional stress that this puts on somebody of that age. And she's of good spirits and good nature, and she's doing well physically, and I think it's just a miracle of medicine.
The doctors want Bree to take it easy on her new heart, but she can hardly wait to get back to normal.
I want to go back to doing everything that I've been doing, and more, obviously. Before I was riding four-wheeler, shooting guns with my boyfriend and my dad, and just doing regular North Dakota stuff, going camping, fishing, swimming in the lakes.
In Tioga, Bonnie Campo, KX News.